what's happening is they're stopping and they're literally like stuffing their faces with the guys that they just killed.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. This is Jason.
This is Pete.
And this is the Lost Legions podcast. And what are we here to talk to you today about, Pete?
The Legion Inductii templates. Is that a thing? Templates. Yeah.
Templates.
Yeah. The Inductii templates is what it's called.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
They are called the Inductii templates. In fact, they are. Apparently, I just stopped reading because I was so excited on Inductii. So the idea is Pete and I are going to run through. We've kind of looked over these, and we kind of just want to give you guys a brief overview on each Inductii. We're not going to spend a ton of time on each one, but again, like if you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear them as we go through because we have made some judgments.
Yeah, this is our knee-jerk reactions, right?
On which ones we think are good. And I always love it when somebody points out how we've missed something, or I've missed something, to be honest, and like how it can be effective. That's always fun. So drop that in the comments below. But with that, let's get started. And Pete is going to kick us off with the Dark Angels.
Yeah, so first up, we got the Dark Angels. So it is a Legion tactical squad. Actually, very quickly, it's worth just pointing out, Jay, that these units we're going to go through, for those that don't know anything about the Inductii, because I imagine there'll be one or two people, they are an optional unit upgrade on some of your tactical or despoiler squads. I think it's just tactical and despoiler squads. We'll go through and explain that, but long and short of it, they gain the support squad rule. They still retain line, and there's some other funky things as well, like sergeants can't have artificer armor and this and that, but we'll go through it. But yeah, just quickly pointing that out.
And fluff-wise, since you're doing that, they are the hyper quickly indoctrinated Space Marines that basically get rammed into the Legion. They basically get force baked and then like mem wiped and like, well, it depends on the Legion, but then like force indoctrinated all of the stuff and then just sent out there. So some of them are not the best and some of them have odd quirks. But yeah, pretty cool fluff-wise. So yeah, well, let's get started with the Dark Angels then.
Yeah, so the Dark Angels is a Legion tactical squad. There's no characteristic profile changes or unit composition at all. Basically these guys, they get to change their bolters for Volkite chargers, I believe. Yeah, Volkite chargers at no additional cost.
So the Volkite chargers are the 15-inch ones, right, Pete?
Correct, yeah. And the unit loses the Fury of the Legion special rule. So you lose the Fury of the Legion special rule, and you gain Volkite chargers instead of your... They must exchange their bolters for Volkite chargers at no additional cost.
I mean, I think these guys are okay. Like, I am not completely thrilled by them. They seem like a very solid choice. But, I mean, I guess it's for 10... Okay, so I thought about this, because I was like, I'm not very impressed about them. But then again, for 10 points a model, you're getting a Volkite charger.
Yeah.
So, you know, you throw them in a Rhino, you throw them down the field. They do have some impressive firepower. They're okay. I mean, I'm not going to write home about them, but I think that they're a decent choice.
Yeah, it's nice. Them? Yeah, I think the same. It's an assault weapon as well, so you can, pull off some spray and charge antics out of maybe some Proteus or Spartans or whatever. That's where my brain goes to them initially. Don't the Dark Angels have the +1 ballistic skill with bolters rule, which obviously you're going to lose here, or not? It's one of the 5 things they can choose, isn't it? One of the
So this is the thing that I am not so sure about. It says they have to lose their Hexagrammicon unit subtype, so I'm not sure if they actually lose access to the Legion rule, which is something that I actually have to look up. But I think they actually might lose their access to their Legion rule, which means they're not as good as they possibly could. And it also makes them a little strange since they'd be the only ones that do. So, yeah, a little more look into that. Or if you guys have a comment about that, let us know. Probably have time to kind of have a bigger look later on. Should we jump into Emperor's Children?
Yeah, how would you rate them? Would you say average, good,
or super Dark Angels?
Yeah.
Right?
Bad, average, or good. Let's go.
They're okay. They're not. It's not a bad choice.
Yeah,
it's not.
I'd say middle of the road, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's not standing up, and I'm not like amazed. Like I'm instantly going to a online store buying 3 units of Mark 6 armor and Volkite chargers.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, next one. Fire it.
Emperor's Children. These guys are cool. I'm gonna say to begin with. There's no characteristic or unit composition modification, but they do get an option to buy chartable weapons for 5 points each. I think that is a bit of a trap, but still cool. The really cool rule is all models in this unit considered to have a leadership characteristic of 10 when resolving morale checks in the shooting phase or pinning tests, but not psychic checks. The weird part is if this unit is part of a combat and it's a draw, they count as losing by 1.
Yeah.
Unless they're fighting another one, because they're just so like obsessed with like sensory stuff and like overwhelming their enemies, and like this is when the Emperor's Children are kind of starting to fall to Slaanesh. What do you think about these guys, Pete? Because I know we had a couple conversations about them the other night when the rules were just coming out, and we went back and forth.
Yeah. My initial reaction was like, meh, don't think it's that good. The chartable sabers are too expensive, blah blah blah. Which I think they're actually fine costed now. It's just going to be your application of them. So yeah, I think being leadership 10 for pinning and morale is a no-brainer. That's great. For a Despoiler squad, this is brilliant. What rule do they lose? You lose Heart of the Legion, so you lose your 6-up Feel No Pain. And it's worth pointing out you can't add any characters to these units, all of these units for all of these legions. So there's no boosting these guys back up with an apothecary or anything like that at all. So they're losing their Feel No Pain entirely at the cost of grabbing the Perfection Embodied, which is a better rule. I think the chartable sabers, if you were going to run 20 of these guys up the board, I think you want to put chartable sabers on no more than half. Yeah, I think that's fair.
This is why I think it's the trap, and you and I had talked about this.
I actually, since we spoke, Jay, we've been working on some lists and stuff, and I think these guys could be quite nice in a Hidden Blade in a Maroskara Rite of War, coming on like turn 4 into your enemy's deployment zone for a backline objective. Just 10 of them with some chartable sabers. You're not going to be getting shot off immediately at that point because they'll be a lot less alive on the board. I think they'll be a nice punch.
It'd be like 125 points or something too, right?
Yeah, 150, I think. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think it's going to be, but it's going to get the job done right at that point as well, assaulting whatever's on the back line. So I think that might be a nice application for them as well. But yeah, I like them.
Yeah,
I didn't at first, but now I do.
I think they're good. I think they're definitely one of the better ones. So I would rate them as good.
Yeah. Good. Next one. The Iron Warriors. So these guys replace a tactical squad, or they're a tactical squad subtype, if you like. What do they get? So these guys lose the Heart of the Legion special rule. They must replace it with Souls of Iron, which is a fantastic album name. Yeah,
exactly.
During your shooting phase, a unit with this special rule must attempt a shooting attack if there is an enemy unit within range and must target the closest enemy unit possible that is within its line of sight and is a valid target for a shooting attack. In other words, you must shoot the closest thing, I guess. If 2 or more targets are equally close and the controller player chooses, this unit automatically passes any pinning tests if it is required to take. So you automatically pass pinning. I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely not bad.
It's okay.
It's like pseudo the Emperor's Children one, right? In a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is I don't see it being as useful as some of the other ones. I don't think it's bad. There are a couple that are bad, in my opinion. And this is not one of them. So this is okay. I would say like it's a little under the Dark Angels one, but not as useful as the Emperor's Children one.
So I would argue it's actually probably more useful than than you first see it, sort of thing. You know what I'm trying to say?
You were the Iron Warriors.
Meets the eye. Yeah, exactly. So when I was playing Iron Warriors, I was running a lot of tactical squads because of their pinning bolters and how they work within the Rite of War and all that sort of stuff. So with the reroll ones to hit and whatnot. So adding an extra rule to these guys, I don't know if that's a good... Actually, I'm just thinking something now off the top of my head, but with the, I think it's the Hammer of Olympia special rule, any Iron Warriors players, I haven't played them for a while, drop a comment here. They get reroll ones to hit with your bolter weapons on your tactical squads, I'm pretty sure, during the shooting phase. Now it says unit, Legion tactical squad. Do you think that rule would apply, Jay, to these guys as well? See what I'm getting at? It says it's a Legion tactical squad, right?
Legion tactical squad, yeah.
So if you're...
I think...
yeah, that's an interesting point, right? We'd have to look into that a bit more, but I think if you're...
I think anything that affects a Legion tactical squad or a Legion Despoiler squad, because I'm looking at the rest of these, would affect these units. Because all you do is add the subtype of Inductii. Sorry to cut you off. I was just reading.
No, that's great.
That popped into my head. I think you are completely correct.
So, considering you were running your pinning reroll ones to hit bolters anyway, being immune to bolter with those, being immune to pinning with those units is just a nice add-on, really.
Yeah.
So it's not bad when you think about it, because you're already taking those units in a lot of the lists anyway. I think that's the key. So
on the border of...
I'd say it's average still. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like, wow, this is amazing, but it's a nice perk for units you're most likely already taking.
Okay. It's kind of like the Dark Angels one then.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's jump into the White Scars one, which I think arguably is one of the best ones. I'm just going to put the spoilers out there. It is a Despoiler squad with no modifications. Let's see. Legion Despoiler Sergeant cannot have their power up and upgraded to a power glaive, so they can't take the Legion special weapon. They lose the Heart of the Legion, and they get the Proof of Valor. And this is where this one's a little more complicated than the rest of them. Okay, so nothing happens unless they're fighting something that's weapon skill 5. So these guys, the whole deal is these guys are supposed to prove themselves to the Legion, right? So if they're fighting something with weapon skill 5 and they suffer an unsaved wound on a 5-up, it is discounted. So this is a mitigation roll, but in no way is it stopped by, like, say, a power fist.
Yeah.
From all we can tell, it just 5-up, nope, he survives. So any model may make only a single damage mitigation roll of any type and any wound. If one of the wounds is discounted due to this special rule, the unit that benefited from this special rule has not entirely been removed as a casualty or forced back. At the end of the fight subphase, the unit is said to have proved their valor. At the end of the battle, if any unit from a player's army have proved their valor, that player scores an additional victory point.
Woo! Everyone likes victory point rules built into their core units.
This is so brutal. I mean, thank God. I think that at least it's covered its own butt. And even if you had like 6 squads of these guys, you only gain 1 victory point. Like, you can't gain more than 1. Because the way it says is, if any of them do it, you gain 1 victory point. So it's not insanity. It's just...
okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
But, I mean, you're like, oh, Terminator squad? Cool, I get a 5-up, feel no pain. Just run in. If they live, cool.
Only if their weapon skill is 5, right? But yeah, or more.
Yeah. Sorry, I guess I was thinking a Legion Terminator.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking of, yeah.
Or a character, whatever. I mean, they're an amazing tar pit unit that could probably get you a victory point. So, cool. They're really cool. I think they're hands down, because of that special rule and the Uber feel no pain, they are one of the best ones. Pete, what do you think?
I think you're right. I think it'll be... I haven't yet looked or read the new core missions for the game. It'll be interesting to see how many victory points are scored within those core missions now. Because if it's quite a lot more, this is probably going to make less and less of a impact, but it's still, editing the victory condition of the game within your army list is always interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Not a fan.
Always
personally
kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it happens with the Dark Angels a lot too. They have a lot of like victory point modifier ones that are negative against them. It's just I find it just strange. Let's move on to the next one.
Space Wolves. Okay, so this is a Despoiler squad upgrade. The Legion Despoiler Sergeant of unit, modified by the Legion. Sorry, hang on. Replace this Despoiler Sergeant of a unit modified by the Space Wolves Legion Inductii template with one additional Legionary. So you lose your Sergeant by the sounds of it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You gain the Inductii unit subtype, of course. You replace all bolt pistols in the unit with combat shields for no additional points cost. How do you feel about that, Jay? Get rid of your bolt pistol for a combat shield?
On my first read through, I was like, woo! And then the more I thought about it, I thought about it for like 2 seconds. I was like, wait a minute. If I lose my bolt pistol, I lose an attack. Nope. It was all for a 6-up, like, model-wise, chef's kiss. Fucking game-wise, what the hell?
It's got to be an oversight, right?
Yeah, I mean, or maybe it's not, but like, what?
They can gain chain axes instead of chain swords for 1 point per model. Yeah,
that's really cool.
It'll look cool as hell.
I mean, I think these guys, if you just want a wall of dudes with a whole bunch of chain axes, it'll look really cool. Without the sergeant, I mean, they're down a leadership and an attack, which is something I just thought about. And that makes them a little messed up. But let's go on to their special rule, which I think actually, with their Legion special rule combined with that, makes them actually a very interesting choice.
So they gain Headstrong, which replaces the heart of the Legion special rule. So they keep the Spite of the Legion, which is interesting then. So when declaring a charge for a unit composed entirely of models with this special rule, the controlling player can declare it will be a Headstrong charge. If they do so when rolling to determine the charge distance, add 2 to the result, and the charge is disordered. Okay, so you, in other words, can make a super long-range charge. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, because like you're already moving 11 and charging.
Yeah.
So at this point, like you can declare it's a headstrong charge, get 2 extra inches, and just bomb down and lock somebody up, right? So like they're chaff, right? There's no doubt about it. They are fucking chaff. But are they? They're good chaff, like they're fast chaff. So like I find them an interesting choice, right? Like I would say again, they're in the okay to good, like not quite good because they lose some things and the bolt pistol thing. If they could take just a combat shield and the chain axe, I'd say they're pretty good. But like, losing the bolt pistol, like losing an attack.
Chain axe is +1 strength, right?
Yeah, and strength.
You probably say they lose the bolt pistol but gain a chain axe and combat shield for free would be, or instead, or replace it with the bolt pistol. So they lose the attack and lose the shooting ability, but they gain +1 strength and gain a 6-up invuln.
Yeah,
that's a fairish. It's interesting.
I mean, I would still take them, but like just game wise, I would take them with a chain axe and no combat shield.
Can't wait to see 80 of them running across the board. Just howling, yeeting themselves across the board. God, I love the Space Wolves. They're so good at this edition. Imperial Fists.
We move on. All right.
Yeah.
Well, no one will be surprised to learn that these guys are terrible. They're the worst ones. Let me read them out, and Pete can affirm my. Is a tactical squad, which is a surprise. War gear. For every 10 models, the unit... sorry, guys. For every 10 models, you can pick one of the following. A heavy bolter or an autocannon. Heavy bolter, 10 points. Autocannon, 15 points. So you could have 2 in a 20-man squad. All models must replace the Heart of the Legion with supporting fire special rule. Which is terrible, horrible. We would never use this. Once per battle, the controlling player of the unit that includes any models with special rule may declare a supporting fire before making a shooting attack with that unit. Until the shooting attack is resolved, weapons with the heavy type in that unit gain the pinning special rule in addition to any other effects their weapons might have.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
So yeah, their shooting becomes pinning. No, they're good. I think they're really good.
I think they're top tier. Yeah, BS5. What? Four BS5, strength 7, rending, 6 up, pinning shots from your tactical squad, which also can do a Fury of the Legion at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like
Fury of the Legion's not
54 bolter shots potentially, plus a couple of autocannon rounds.
They're one of the best inductis, like I think straight up. It's once per battle, a unit that includes once per battle per. Okay, so this is interesting. Let's read through this. I just am curious. Once per battle, the controlling player of a unit that includes any models with this special rule may declare a supporting fire before making a shooting attack with that unit. So is that once per battle per unit? That's
with that unit. Yeah, it says So once per battle, you can do this with that unit. Yeah.
Okay. So if you have 6 of them, say,
well, you can have 4, right? Because these are they get their support squads.
Sure. Sorry. If you have 4 of them.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to Pete's old event, and then you have
as many as you want.
Of them.
Do it.
Exactly. So you can have 4 of them. So you can do this 4 times. It's great. I think it's really, really good. I think it's one of the best ones. It's very handy. I could see you wanting to take this over normal squads. It's perfect, especially for this just a scoring, kickback, and scoring squads. This is amazing.
Next one. Night Lords. Probably the most fun one, we can agree.
Oh yeah, like
100%. Yeah, this is good, ranked good straight away, in our opinion. So Night Lords, Despoiler Squad. What a surprise! The Legion Despoiler Sergeant has to modify its leadership down to 7.
Which I thought about this when I read the Space Wolves one. I'm like, well, they made off better because at least the Sergeant gets 2 attacks still.
And all models gain the Inductor unit, blah, 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 blah. All models in the unit modified by a Night Lord's Legion Inductor template must replace their chainswords with Killer's Blades at no additional cost. And a Killer's Blades is a strength user melee breaching 6+. So that's pretty cool. Pseudo random. Take that for free.
I think this is good. It's interesting. It's an interesting side grade, right? Really good against some things, I think.
Losing shred, gaining breaching. I think it's pretty good. Yeah. Special rules. So they lose the Heart of the Legion special rule and gain Unscrupulous Murderers. So this is the fun part. So if the Legion Despoiler Sergeant of a unit with this special rule is involved in a challenge, at the start of the initiative step 10, you can select up to 2 other models from the same unit and roll a d6 for each selected. On a 2+, that model can resolve its attacks during this step. So basically, as you guys fighting issuing a challenge and the enemy walks in to accept the challenge, your dudes just shank them on the way in with a Killer's Blade, just stabbing them in their stomach and whatnot. Yeah, I like it. However, where is it? On a roll of a 1, the model must resolve its attacks during the step against their own unit. And if so, these wounds must be allocated towards the challenge. So basically, it's
the sergeant.
Yeah. The other legionnaires I'm taking command now, boys.
So I
Shanks his teammate.
I have a question about this. Because you can upgrade Legion Despoiler squads to have 1 special weapon per 5 guys. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't do this with 2 power axes. So you're getting power axes that are resolving in initiative 10? Rules oversight? What rules oversight? Rules is intended? What's going on? Because I read through it a few times, and I've actually kind of saved this little gem to surprise you all. You power axe somebody in the back. I mean, those same power axes will be hitting your sergeant if you roll a 1. But
I like those odds. I'll take that chance.
In 1 in 6 chance that you're going to power axe somebody's sergeant? I mean, but it seems like you can.
Jay, I don't know. Yeah. All models in a unit must replace their chainsaws with killer's blades. Oh, no, but that doesn't... And then it will say in the rulebook, in the unit entry, that you can upgrade, you can swap your chainsword for a power axe 1 in 5.
We'll have to double check.
It'll be tight.
You very much could be right.
Yeah, not sure, but if only. It depends. For sure. I like
it. In that case, it still goes to good. And it still goes to fun, but it's not amazing. You can power axe somebody in the back.
Oh, I would. Yeah, that needs to be read. Yeah, I think. Yeah, definitely. Let's check that out. But that's what I'm assuming, because I think it's you may upgrade your chainswords. 1 in 5 can swap a chainsword.
I will research that after this and put it in the comments, because I'm super curious. I mean, asking for a friend that might play Night Lords. People are going to be
calling you out right now. You gave me so and so, trying to initiative 10-step power axe.
Do you know what? It's nighttime. You're scared of me, and I'm going to axe you in the back.
Perfect.
Let's move on to Blood Angels Inductii.
Yes.
So this one is a Blood Angels to spoiler squad. There's no modifications. All models in the unit must replace their Spite of the Legion rule with the Revenant Legion special rule. So they do keep Heart of the Legion still. But the Revenant Legion skill is a unit that includes 1 or more models with the special rule may not make sweeping advances, because they stop and eat the dudes that they just killed. And in addition, this includes any models with the special rule that win a combat, and all enemy units that it was locked in combat with fall back or entirely removed as casualties. Then all models in this unit gain the Fear 1 special rule till the end of the battle. Pete, how do you feel about this?
I don't rate it at all.
No, it's terrible.
It's bad, isn't it? It's so bad.
It's bad. Like, it's straight up bad. It's super fluffy.
Yeah.
It's neat. Because, like, I think what's happening is they're stopping and they're literally, like, stuffing their faces with the guys that they just killed.
Yeah.
Or drinking their blood, whatever. They're doing horrible vampire things. But, like, man, what a terrible...
Gaining Fear 1, so that means enemies within 6 inches of you reduce their leadership by 1 when making leadership tests. Is that what it does? Am I right in saying that?
12, yeah.
12. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, but still, you're gaining.
It's only after combat, yeah.
Yeah, after combat, and then so you're already kind of probably there's only a couple guys left. I mean, sure, it's neat. Yes, I think it's cool. I think it's a great opportunity to do some interesting painting. You can make some flesh terror guys. Like, so from that point of view, I think it's great, but I think it goes in the not great category.
Yeah.
Like, as we've been going through the good, bad, and ugly, this is definitely the ugly. Like, I don't think they're very good.
Yeah. Okay. Iron Hands. No, yeah, put that down in the bad. What's the next one? No.
Iron Hands.
I was joking. I was saying Iron Hands. Yeah, just skip them. No, Iron Hands. I wonder how good these guys are going to be. What do you reckon, Jay? Good, average, bad? What do you think they're going to be?
I mean, thinking how they normally be, I think they'd be excellent. They'll probably be the best. But like,
oh, they're pretty good. Right. So we've got Legion Tactical Squad for the Iron Hands. They all gain the heavy type unit subtype, which is interesting. So no running. So you won't be running with your Iron Hands, which is never seen anyway, so that's fine. The Legion Tactical Sergeant in a unit modified by the Iron Hands Inductii template may take 1 Phosphex bomb for 10 points.
Why? Fuck knows!
Have a Phosphex bomb. Why not?
That is the really good part.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that special rule is pretty damn good. So all models in the unit also gain the Forbidden Augmentations special rule by replacing the Fury of the Legion special rule. So at the start of a controller player's turn, as the active player, before the beginning of the movement phase, roll 1 dice for each unit that includes 1 or more models with this special rule. On the roll of a 5+, all models in that unit with this special rule gain +1 weapon skill and +1 ballistic skill until the end of that player turn. However, on the roll of a 1 or a 2, the unit suffers D3 wounds with an AP value of dash, just irrelevant basically by the unit's controlling player. So if you would like to be weapon skill 5 and ballistic skill 5, all right, you know, a third chance of it happening, then just give it a go. Nothing not to like.
My initial reaction was I thought these guys were really good. And then when I kind of reread them, I was sort of looking at that like they suffer a D3 wounds. And the thing is, I think this is compulsory. I think at the start of a controlling player's turn, before the beginning of a movement phase, roll 1 dice. So you always have the chance of them suffering a wound a third of the time. So it's not great. It's great on one side and bad on the other. So I kind of put it down as a medium again, right? Because like,
oh, I think the complete opposite. This is interesting, but yeah,
really,
it's D3 wounds on the roll of a 1 or 2 with 0 AP. It's not going to do anything. It'll be lucky if it kills like 1 or 2 attack marines across the course of a game. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad, but fair enough. Losing Fury of the Legion is actually quite a big trade-off, though.
I don't think it's horrible. I think you're going to need to throw these guys in a Rhino. You're going to want them to throw that Phosphex bomb, right? Like, that's the part that I think is really good.
Yeah.
It is the Phosphex bomb, right? Like, that's why I kind of arrived at these guys are okay, because I think that part's kind of bad. But yeah, I mean, a third of the time they're going to be BS and weapon skill 5. But it's that Phosphex bomb that I think is the really good part.
Heavy's pretty cool as well, though.
Yeah, because they're re-rolling.
Yeah, they're pretty good for Zone Mortalis, maybe. Yeah.
They're great in Zone Mortalis, I think, actually. With the Phosphex bomb? Oh, these guys are... Yeah, okay, yeah. For Zone Mortalis, you guys are excellent.
They're not fast, but they are holding their corridor. Yeah, potentially going... Just think about it. They're matching up against another standard Legion unit. Just get +1 weapon skill. And being, you know, the +1 toughness that they have. Or kind of +1 toughness. For being an Iron Hand. Yeah. I think they're all right. Okay, we'll split the difference. We'll go average, shall we?
That was what average. I arrived at.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, there's good and bad about them. They're excellently average.
All right. Next up.
Okay. World Eaters. The original Inductii, from what I remember. So all model in this unit, World Eaters Legion Inductii template gain the Inductii unit subtype. No modifications. Special rule. All models in this unit modified by World Eater Legion Inductii template must be replaced the Heart of the Legion special rule with the Ravening Madmen special rule. And I looked this up earlier, and what this does is any attack that goes against them is -1 strength, but it doesn't affect the instant death threshold.
Yeah.
So, for example, a chainsword would wound them on a 5. However, they also always count as weapon skill 3 for attacking them.
Okay. So they open themselves up to attacks more. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're okay. I mean...
Depends what they're getting thrown into, doesn't it, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the thing is you can't take an apothecary with them, right? So...
I think they're actually probably a little bit worse than okay, given the fact that the type of units that you don't mind hitting you are going to be hitting you with chainswords, which have shred anyway. So you don't mind the fact that your 5s to wound with rerolls is not that big a deal. Maybe, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah. I don't know how good that actually is.
It becomes kind of a toss-up, right? Because like they don't have like power weapons or something, so they're not weapon skill 5. So I don't know. Yeah, it's.
What would you say?
It's okay.
Average? Or?
I give them the okay. I'm leaning on bad, but I don't think they're horrible. I think that they're very flavorful. They're better than the Blood Angels ones, I would say.
Yeah, okay.
Because at least they do something, right? They're okay.
Next up.
There's been better.
Yeah.
Next up. Yep.
These ones are really cool, the Ultramarines. So, big fan of these. they actually gave me a slight inclination when I was rereading it, Jay. I was like, could do it. No, stay purple, stay true. So yeah, they're a Legion tactical squad. They may not take additional Legionnaires, so they have to stay at a 10-man size, which when I originally read that, I was like, I already know where this is going. I love it. So for every 5 models in the unit, in this Inductii unit, one of the units may exchange their bolter for the following: a flamer, a plasma gun, or a melter gun.
Which is cool.
Yeah, and they replace the Fury of the Legion special rule with the inexorable rule. Which
is amazing.
Pseudo, they shall know no fear. No, I think that's what they're trying to mimic, isn't it?
I think you're right. I think that's what you do. For anyone who doesn't know off the top of their head, you do not suffer any minuses in assault to your leadership from casualty.
It's a pseudo stubborn, isn't it?
Yeah, they're really good. All Terminators have
10 in the Rhino, 2 melt guns. Go take an objective. Yeah.
Yeah, I think these guys are excellent.
Love it.
Like, they're like the Imperial Fist ones. They're super handy. They are kind of a bonus on what the tac squad already is. So yeah, there's no reason not to take these guys. Like, they are excellent.
They're kind of like a mid ground between a vet and a tactical, aren't they?
Yeah,
almost mid ground.
Losing Fury of the Legion, like, it's kind of like, I wouldn't throw away tacticals because you have a tactical sit on objective in your backfield. These guys are great for going forward, right?
Yeah.
Because you put a couple of melta guns in them, you put them in a Rhino, you don't only take 10-man squad anyway. They have an inexorable, so if they get charged while they're on that enemy's objective, they're less likely to break and run, to hold it for your other guys to get up there to get them. So yeah, a great squad, I think.
Yeah. They're cool in drop pods as well. Actually, I could imagine coming down out of drop pods, blowing up a few things.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Yeah, I think so. Cool. Next one.
Jump onto the Death Guard. So this is a tactical squad. No modifications. For every 5 models in the unit, you can take an all-cam flamer for 5 points, which is okay. I mean, it's all right. I mean, they're decent. So... Yeah. Not the worst. They'll get I was gonna say barbarian. Barbaran Resilient. So when this model with a special rule suffers an unsafe wound, they can make a special Barbaran Resilience roll to avoid the wound. So it's just like Feel No Pain. It can't be made against instant death. It's a mitigation roll, so you get either or. So if there's 10, so this is the weird part about them. If there's 10 guys, the rule has no effect. When there's less than 10 models, you get a roll of 6 up. And if less than 5 models, you get a roll of 5 up.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
I think it's trash. I think it's absolute garbage.
It's okay. I mean, but on the garbage side, like, it's just not. It's not that great, right?
These guys aren't doing anything special other than sitting on an objective because they're a tactical squad. And if that's the case, which is probably where you'd have them anyway, they then would be getting their Heart of the Legion 6 up, Feel No Pain standard. And then you could boost that to a 4+ with adding an apothecary.
You can't add an apothecary to these guys.
No, I'm just on about generic tactical squad. Sorry, I probably made that clear.
Yeah.
So when you compare them to the standard unit, so if you compare these guys, you basically have 5 models or less, you get 5+ Feel No Pain. Provided the job of this unit is to sit on an objective, you're just better off taking the standard tactical squad and always having a 6+ Feel No Pain on that objective, which can be boosted to a 4 up because you can add an apothecary. I like the flamers. Yeah. But the flamers lead you, I think, more towards wanting to sit them on an objective to have the D3 Overwatch hits and things like that. I don't know. Personally, that's how I feel. Sorry if I'm offending any Death Guard players, but I think these are terrible. Probably one of the worst for me. I'm a little more positive of them than you, but like at the same time, I'm kind of like, what's the point? Like, that's kind of where I kind of arrived. Yeah.
I mean, I like the flavor. I like what they're trying to do. I just don't feel like they hit that home run. which is what happens with a couple of these.
Yeah. All right. Thousand Suns. So, tactical squads. Again, cool. You cannot take Asphyx, I can never pronounce it, bolt pistols or bolters. Have to keep the standard ones. And they replace Fury of the Legion with the Unattuned Practitioners special rule, which I love the name.
So well.
It sounds like it's going to be terrible straight away.
It sounds like you guys are going to be fine.
Like, dial up to 11 and just see what happens. So yeah, a model with this special rule gains the etheric guidance psychic power and may not select a minor arcana from those presented by the Prospering Arcana special rule.
Oh, what do you get instead?
Well, instead, when a unit that includes a psych with this power makes a shooting attack, the controller player may make a psychic check for the psyker with this power before any rolls to hit are made. If the check is successful, then until that shooting attack is resolved, attacks made by this unit have the Breaching 6+ special rule. Which ain't bad. But if the psychic check is failed, then the unit suffers perils of the warp and receives 1 additional wound when it does so. What do you think, Jay?
On the surface, the actual power is fucking great. In practicality, you have a sergeant with an 8-up leadership.
Yeah.
If it's nighttime, he's got a 7. If the sergeant dies, they have a 7 or a 6 at night. And if you fail this, they instantly take a D3 plus 1 casualties. Because there's no invulnerable save to save them. They just perils and they die. I mean...
And you lose all your Legion rules, right? Because you no longer have a character to cast, is that right?
Oh, no. You could just pawn it off on the other dudes in the squads, so he could blow them up next turn. So, yes. But if you lose the dude, if you lose that guy, you then can't cast. So, I mean, I think that... How do I feel about them? They're terrible, but not because of these rules.
Yeah,
these rules are actually pretty good. But the additional +1 wound, I think, is what really makes them suffer, because... that's up to 4 of them are gonna die, just explode.
But also, the Asphyx rounds, aren't they shred? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, they're shred.
I'd rather shred than breaching 6 up. Reroll failed wounds, and you can't fury, so you're losing fury. I don't know, man. Ain't that good?
I just think they're terrible, but I think if you modified the Thousand Suns actual Legion rules, they could be great. But yeah, unfortunately, I think they're on the terrible side. Sorry, guys.
I do love the fast mass-produced psychic Legionnaires. Pump them out. They're not quite ready. Pump them out again.
And then they're just they just fucking pop. They're like, use our ray guns! Spoosh! And they all just fucking blow up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Next up, Jay.
Moving on. Sons of Horus. Legion Despoiler Squads. They can all replace their chain swords with a chain axe for +1 points, which is great.
Yeah.
And they replace Spite of the Legion, so they keep Heart of the Legion, which is good, with Creed of Brutality. At the start of each assault phase, if a unit that includes at least 1 model with this special rule has any models within 6 of a friendly model with the Legion Inductii Sons of Horus special rule that has a weapon skill characteristic of 5, that was a lot of words for that.
That's the pattern of this entire edition, isn't it? All of the words to say one thing.
They just need to be next to a guy who has a weapon skill 5 because he's a big, tough bitch. And they gain Rampage 1 and Furious Charge special rule until the end of the phase. I think that this is great.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's nothing not to like, is there?
No. I mean, it might not be the best thing ever, but if you plan for it or you're running a character with your Inductii, then I think it can be great because I think you just have to plan for it. They're not going to get it but you can. It's super easy. I mean, you can just put a Centurion, a blank Centurion, 50 points, running down the field, going, "Go team, go team, go team!" Yeah. And all these guys get Rampage and Furious Charge. So that's great. Like, I think that's actually really good. So yeah, one of the better ones, I would say. What about you?
Yeah, I think nothing not to like, right? So Rampage is +1 attack. Is that right on the charge?
Rampage is +1 attack, I believe, when you're outnumbered.
Oh, okay. And Furious Charge is +1 strength, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a no-brainer, really. And you're right. I think you're in a bit of you're in more control with it because it's you controlling your bubbles. So you could probably, I don't know, teleport in a command squad with a warmonger, or there's a whole list of things you could do, right? Which is cool. I guess the Reavers are weapon skill 5. I guess I don't know. I've not looked.
You mean the special unit?
Yeah. So you can have them exactly, boosting them as well. I'm thinking you can deep strike something in turn 2 into the enemy line as your despoilers reach the enemy line. That could be quite cool. Yeah,
you just have control over it, so there's options. So like it's cool because you can do it, right? Like, so it could get side busted, but whatever. I mean, and the fact that they can all take chain axes, I think, is really good too, because they're all strength 5. Then they're strength 6 on the charge with shred, so they're wounding on 2s with shred. Good night, like, right? Like, that's a lot of attack.
It's not bad, is it?
No, it's really good.
Cool. Next up, we got the Wordbearers. Now, truth be told, I don't know an awful lot about the Wordbearers. You might have to help me out with the thoughts on this one, Jay. So, and if not, I'm sure Kerry will pop up in the comments telling me why everything I'm about to say is wrong. So we've got their Legion Despoiler squad. Old models in the unit gain the Inductor rule, as we know. They lose the Heart of Legion rule and gain the Empty Vessels and Traitor special rules. So they can only be taken as a traitor then. That's what that means, right? I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So at the end of the game turn, the controlling player of a unit with this special rule rolls a d6 for each such unit that does not have the corrupted unit subtype. Add 1 to the result if any enemy units were destroyed as a result of an attack or sweeping advance made by that unit during this game turn, and add 1 to the result if the enemy warlord has been destroyed during the battle. On a 5+, that unit suffers D3 wounds with an AP value of dash and gains the corrupted unit subtype and Furious Charge 1. So that seems pretty cool. Like, corrupted can give you a whole load of crazy, can't it, basically?
I think they have some buffs that affect corrupted units. Again, like, comments would be great about this. I think it gives them a 5-up invulnerable save. I'm not positive. Maybe it's a 6-up. I'm not 100% sure what corrupted does. So, but yeah, I knew they do have some stuff that buffs it. But overall, I think that this one is much better than the Iron Hands one because it only does wounds to you once, right? Like, it's not every turn. So, and I think it's very fluffy, right? Because they kind of like burst and they get their demon powers. And they might not even take any damage, like you said. So, yeah, this is cool. Definitely, I think, a cool one. Maybe not amazing, or you guys can tell us why it is. But yeah, I definitely think this is in the okay to good category.
Yeah. Good. Next one, Jake.
Cool. So the next one was the Salamanders. And at first, this confused the hell out of me and Pete. But I read the fluff. Imagine the fluff explaining something. And that made me go, oh, because I remember when we were talking about it, I was like, well, it has to be this. I mean, that would make complete sense. And then when I read the fluff, it was this. And this is banded together under a Legion veteran, these new units fought even harder. So why all this contention comes from is the weapon skill of the sergeant raises to 5. And I was like, why? What is going on?
Yeah.
Why is that? The Legion sergeant would have to be a veteran for that to happen. If I just read the fluff, my question
literally is. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's cool. They can also take a Dragon Breath Flamer or a Melt the Gun for every 10 models in the unit, which I think is great, right? Sorry, it's a Despoiler squad, guys. And the all models in a unit modified by the Salamanders Legion Inductii template, replace their Spite of the Legion rule with a War Gear of Heroes. And the fluff of this is they take the fallen Salamanders Mastercrafted stuff, they give it to the new guys to make a new generation of heroes. It's kind of cool. Gotta love the Salamanders.
It's very, very superhero-y, isn't it?
Yeah,
gotta love it.
They're totally the good guys, right? Like, so the controlling player with the model of this special rule may re-roll all failed hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with models with a melee weapon. So all your melee weapons are basically like pseudo hatred. You get to re-roll 1s. It's great. Like everybody's mastercrafted. Like hands down, this is the best one in my opinion. Your sergeant becomes weapon skill 5. You can take melted guns, and you gain mastercrafted. Like.
Yeah.
Talk me out of it?
The sergeant's hitting on freeze with his weapon of choice. And hitting on freeze with his weapon of choice, re-rolling 1s at weapon skill. Yeah, weapon skill 5, right. That's crazy. That's good.
Yeah, they're absolutely great.
Like, and the fact they can have a melter gun as well, so they can like pop out of a Proteus or something, or blow apart another Land Raider, charge the guys inside.
Yeah. All right. I think they're excellent. I think hands down the best.
They needed something, right?
I was talking to a group today, and then I said that. I was like, "What's up with the weapon skill 5?" And someone's all, "They needed something," and I'm like, "Yeah, this is true." So way to go, Salamanders! You scored.
All right, we're into the final 2, Jay. So thanks for sticking around, guys. This is a longer one than normal for us. We won't make a habit of it. Raven Guards. So I think this one's pretty decent. Tactical squads. All models in the unit, they must replace the Heart of the Legion special rule with the Unchained Conviction special rule. So there's no other changes to them other than that. Just double checking. Yeah. So unit composed entirely of models with this special rule whose controlling player fails a pinning check made for it. Sorry. A unit composed entirely of models with this special rule whose controlling player fails a pinning check made for it is not pinned. That reads terribly. But instead that reads terribly. But instead must...
Why use one word when 17 could work?
Player fails a pinning check made for it is not pinned. Okay. But instead must immediately move 7 inches directly away from the enemy unit that caused the pinning test. So in other words, we're saying you fail a pinning check, you don't become pinned, you apply this rule instead. So you move 7 inches directly away from the enemy that has caused the pinning test, moving each model in the unit directly away from the enemy unit by the shortest available path. If this would bring the unit into contact with the edge of the battlefield, do not move out further. Blah, 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 blah. The unit is not pinned. If the unit is required to make this move during a charge, then the charge automatically fails and the unit is displaced from the position it occupied when the charge was declared.
Yeah, I thought that was actually really good. That was the best part because, like, you fall back from where you're about to charge, so you get further away from the guy that's then going to charge you. Like, on his turn. Like, I'm all, thanks.
Well, it's a good way of making, like, trying a 10 or 11 inch charge or whatever and getting away with it, like, to become pinned and fall back even further. You might try it, I guess. But the key thing here is all the deep striking units coming in to attack you, you're just going to fall back. And you can fall back out of some nasty gun ranges and charge ranges. It's huge.
Yeah, especially when you fail your pinning check, right? Like, this is, I think, one of the ones where I'm like, this is great because it's like, why would you take a normal pack tactical squad? This is what you want to take.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
Put night fighting on me, please. Yeah, I don't want to be pinned. I don't want you to charge me. I want to fall back and then you not be able to charge me or have a hard time of it with the range changes and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really good. They're not going to fall off the board. Like, they're way better than normal TAC Marines. I would not take normal TAC Marines. I would take these guys 100% if I was Raven. I mean, because how many are you going to take? 2 squads, right? So, these guys are perfect. Like, take them. They're perfect.
Remember, you need to take your compulsory troops, though. But yes. Cool. I would say average to good.
Yeah, I would actually say they're good. I think they're really good.
All right, we'll go good.
They're like the bottom of the excellent tier, I would say.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay, so the last one, Alpha Legion. This is a tack squad with no modifications. Let's see. The only change is the heart of the Legion rule is replaced with treacherous lure. The interesting thing about this is the plate on the next page is actually of 1,000 Suns Marine, and I was like, what? Because there's Inductii armoral markings with the Alpha Legion like serpent there, and I was like, what's going on? And then I had to read the bottom, and it's a false set of colors intended to confuse the enemy. And why I'm reading this to you is because treacherous lure is the first turn of shooting. You cannot target these guys. They are
it's so stupid.
Excellent. I mean, I could see some dumb lists happening with 40 of these, 80 of these guys, right? Like, I don't know how good that would be. I don't think it'd be excellent, but like,
just start 80 on the board, put everything else in reserve.
Oh my god, you're such a
all right, cool. Your turn one was fun.
Oh my god. Okay, if you match my Legion color, I will. That's great. I totally. If you have 80 of each Legion, and you're like, hold on, and you pull them out, I'd be like, I think I love you. If you didn't do that, I'd be like, oh, you're a gamey dick. But if you pulled out 80 of whatever Legion I was playing and put them on the table, I would be like, I think you've won Heresy at that point.
You just deploy a mirror facing your opponent, and you put it across the middle of the table. There you go.
I would accept that. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool and also could be gamey. I don't know. Like, I think it's really good. I really like it. It's one of the better ones, I think. How useful it is overall, not sure, but I think you could do some really annoying gamey stuff with it to start off with. But that's the Alpha Legion, right? Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's all right. I think it's pretty good. I quite like it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Dude, what you just said, though, with the reserve everything except for these guys. Just a banner with a middle finger. Well, guys.
Just all of them with their hands in the air, just walking forward like...
Yeah. What are you going to do? Well, guys, that's the Inductii. I think we're going to jump out because this video has been longer than normal. As Pete said, we had a really good time going through them. If you have any comments, please leave them below. Let us know what you think is the best Inductii squad. Let us know what you think is the worst Inductii squad. And I think that will be it from me and Pete, and we'll be signing off. Pete, over to you.
See ya.